Do you have a corner in your garden where you don't get sunlight? Or do you have a corner where you get the shade? So this video is for you, those who doesn't like keeping these plant as indoor plants, so you can keep them in the shade. So today's video about keeping plants in the shady area, which plants and what are the names of these plants and how you can keep them. So locate them in the shade. Hello friends, welcome to Tamara's garden. Today I will share with you plants that prefers the shade or that best grows in the shade. So there are many ornamental plants which prefers the shade or the partial sunlight and grow really well. So these are best indoor plants, ornamental plants that are mainly prefers the shade or the partial shade, and I will let you know the names as well. So first comes the Dracaena. Here I have this red colored Dracaena in a pot, and also there's another variety here. These plants can be easily grown by stem cuttings, and also you can propagate them easily, and these plants can be purchased from any nursery or you can get them from friends or your neighbors. So these plants grow well in pots in the shade. Next comes this shade loving plant, Song of India. I put some small cuttings in this pot and it's really very growing well. So this is also another Dracaena variety. Song of India prefers the shade and grows well in the shade. For this bright sunlight, their leaves get burnt out. So these plants can be easily grown by stems. If you are a person who loves ornamental plants, ZZ plants are wonderful plants to grow, and these can be easily grown from leaves, and also once you propagate them by leaves, you can grow them separately in another pot. This is another wonderful ornamental plant which you can grow in the shade as an indoor plant. So this is also can be purchased from the nurseries, or else you can get them from a friend of yours. Just a leaf will be enough to propagate. Asparagus fern also is wonderful to look at, and their leaves are so beautiful. So this is another shade loving plant which can be easily propagated and divided by the roots. So this is another plant which prefers the shade, so you can keep them indoors and maintain really very easily. So this is another plant that you can grow in the shade. This is Chinese evergreen plant which also prefers the partial to shady sunlight. So these plants can be easily grown by dividing the plant and multiplying them. And here also I have my pink aglaonema. That is also such a beautiful and a wonderful indoor plant which prefers the shade. So these plants doesn't like the bright sunlight. Syngonium plants are another beautiful leafy plant which you can keep inside as an indoor plant because they also prefers the partial to shady sunlight. These can be easily grown by stem cuttings and with the knot, and you can easily purchase these plants also. They are available in the nurseries, or else you can get it from a friend of yours with the knot and put it in water to propagate. Coleus are another plants which you can grow by stems, and these plants also prefer the shade and they do not like the bright sun. When you keep them in the shade, their leaves are so big and they grow really well. It's another shade loving plant. Philodendron plant are another wonderful yellow and green leaves will give you a beautiful and elegant look to your indoor plant collection. And this is another plant which you can grow in the shade. They also prefer the shade and prefers the partial sunlight. They do not prefer the bright sunlight. This is mini syngonium, and this also prefers the partial to shady sunlight. Another variety of syngonium plant. So here I have the lucky bamboo plant. They grow from the stems, and this is also a green plant that prefers the shady sunlight and low lights. They grow well in low lights. And money pothos. wonderful, beautiful pothos plants which you can really propagate easily from stems. Put them in water and you can propagate them. They also prefer the partial to shade sunlight. Here I have spider plants along with the snake plants and Saveria. So they also grow in beautiful and wonderful plants. They also grow in shade. They prefer the shade. They do not love the harsh sunlight. This is another variegated plant which prefers the shade or the partial sunlight. This is an umbrella plant which I grew from a stem, and this is also in a small pot, and I have kept it in the shade because this plant also doesn't like the bright sunlight. So out of all these plants, most are ornamental plants and air purification plants. If they get caught to bright sun, their leaves get burnt, so they prefer the partial or shady sunlight. And there are many videos which I have done how to take care of these plants too. So this is the end of today's video. I hope you find it very useful. So there are many ornamental plants in our garden which prefers the shade, and there are many plants that prefers the bright sunlight. So locate them at the right place so that these plants grow really well and beautiful. So hope you find this video very useful. If you are new, consider subscribing to my channel, and thanks for watching and thanks for visiting.